Hello guys, Brad here again with another video, and today I want to do sort of a top 5 list video, a discussion video hopefully. This is a topic that I think is very important to address, and I don't think anybody else has done a video like this on YouTube before, and I thought it'd be a really good one to do. I call this one Top 5 Fruity Notes Not Found in Men's Fragrances. Now, you may have noticed that when you look at the note breakdown on women's fragrances, a lot of times they have fruity notes that you very rarely see in men's fragrances. So if I would mention these fragrance notes, talk about them a little bit, and then mention maybe one or two fragrances from each fruit that you can try on the men's side if you really want to try a fruity note in a masculine or at least unisex fragrance. So I came up with a couple of honorable mentions to get started. The reason the first one is honorable mention is because I just thought of it after I made my list, but I think it certainly deserves a mention, and that's banana. Banana, you know, is a very popular thing that people eat, and there are a lot of fragrances for women that have a banana note, but on the men's side, very rarely do you see a banana note. So I guess the fruity note is somehow attached as a feminine note. But there are a couple of men's fragrances that you might want to check out if you love bananas, even though they might be discontinued and very hard to get cheaply. First one is Quasar from the house of Jesus del Pozo. Now, fortunately, I got a bottle of this one when it was still relatively cheap. Now I think it's really gotten expensive on eBay. But this one has like a banana leaf smell to it, and that might sound appealing to a lot of people, but what happened with this one is that they combined the banana leaf note with like a newspaper print note as well, so it smells sort of like almost like you wrapped bananas in newspaper and threw it in the trash or something like that. It's sort of an odd smelling fragrance, but I think it does have an audience and might be worth checking out if you can get a sample. Another one from the house of Creed, I believe this one is Vaulted, but there's actually a Creed fragrance that has a banana note, or at least a banana-like smell to it, and that's called a Creed Acer Aluminum. I believe this one came out in the 70s. Very hard to find, I believe, these days, but that one supposedly smells like you took a banana and wrapped it in aluminum foil, so like a metallic banana smell to it. But most of the other banana fragrances out there are going to be on the feminine side. Another honorable mention is raspberry. Now, I mentioned raspberry because I think of all these notes that I've mentioned, this one is probably the easiest to find on the men's side, although I don't think there are a lot of options available for men. I do know of a few. Of course, I recently reviewed Godolphin from the house of Parfums de Marly. I don't see a mentioned raspberry note there, but it was inspired, or smells very similar to Tuscan leather. So we all know that Tuscan leather has the leather note combined with raspberry. So check that one out if you're a fan of raspberry. Other ones would be Mont Blanc's Individual, which actually has a strong following among some members of the fragrance community. That one's sort of like a drier sheet with like a sweet raspberry note. It's a Mont Blanc Individual. And Diesel Fuel for Life. I have a tiny little mini bottle of Diesel's Fuel for Life, and that one's not talked about as much as it used to get talked about. But of all these three, I don't really care for any of them. But if you do love raspberry, I think they're all worth checking out to see what you think. So let's move on to the main body of my video here, the top 5 fruity notes found mostly in women's fragrances, but not really so much in men's fragrances. Peach. For some reason, you don't really see peach mentioned a lot. If you do find peach in a men's fragrance, it's probably something indie or niche that not a lot of people know about. But I think a good example of a men's fragrance that has peach in it is one that I sampled before, the original Burberry for Men. Now, according to Fragrantica, it doesn't have peach. At base notes, it does mention peach, and from what I remember, it did have a little bit of a peachy smell to it. So definitely want to check out Burberry for Men if you're a guy looking for something with a peach-like smell to it. The next one is cherry. Who doesn't like cherries? You know, cherry is very nice note, but it's mostly found in women's fragrances. But there are a couple on the men's side or unisex side that I think deserve a mention. Mugler's Pure Havane, which is like a cherry tobacco type scent. Pretty sweet, but if you like cherry, definitely check that one out. And a newer one from Tom Ford, Lost Cherry. That one's unisex, but I would say if you're a fan of cherry, why wouldn't you want to try a fragrance that has cherry in the title? So check those two out if you're a guy and you're a fan of cherry. Another one's like a tropical note that doesn't pop up much on the men's side. Lychee. Now, to my nose, lychee is a very feminine type smelling fruit, but it is found in at least one rather popular indie style fragrance, and that one is Falling into the Sea from Imaginary Authors. So check that one out if you're a fan of lychee. They experience that note in a men's fragrance. The next one is grape. You don't hear much about grape in men's fragrances. But I remember a while back when Escada Magnetism was extremely popular and hyped up in the men's fragrance game. A lot of people said that one smelled like grape soda, even though grape isn't mentioned in the note breakdown. Personally, I never really got grape soda or grapes, but if you're a guy and you can get your hands on Escada Magnetism, it might be worth checking out. Or maybe, I believe there are some clones out there of Magnetism to check out. The other one I found that has grape in it is Terre de Sargent, or Terre de Sarment from the House of Frappin. That one has a listed grape note in it as well, even though I don't think grape is the most prominent note. If you like grapes, you might want to check out Frappin's Terre de Sarment. And finally, a note that is extremely hard to find in men's fragrance, and that is strawberry. It seems to me that women pretty much have an exclusive hold on strawberries in fragrances. But if you are a guy, you want something with a strawberry-like smell to it, Paco Rabanne's Black Excess used to get compared to smelling like strawberries, even though strawberry wasn't mentioned. A lot of people got a strawberry-like smell from that one. And another one that kind of had a strawberry feel to my nose and some other people, Armani Diamonds. So I would recommend checking those two out if you're a fan of strawberries. And there is one fragrance that I sampled that did have a listed strawberry note. I think it is feminine, but it might be worth checking out. Neil Morris Woodland Strawberry, I think it was called, had a more of a earthy strawberry smell to it. So check those out if you're into strawberries and you're a guy. But other than that, I think women pretty much have the stronghold on strawberry for whatever reason. So hopefully you found this list helpful and enjoyed it. And I know that not a lot of people are probably going to watch this video, so hopefully maybe people can get on board with this type of video and share it with others in their own videos to help people out finding fragrances that are mostly feminine oriented, but have a couple of fragrances on the men's side that can be found if you dig deep and are willing to spend a little bit of money. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you later.